strong winds to the north of the UK on Monday. But back to Saturday evening, we have got this area of cloud and rain pushing in across Northern Ireland and Scotland, slowly working its way southeastwards across the UK through the course of tonight. Some fairly low cloud developing, so some mist and hill fog as well, and quite humid conditions in the west, clearer and slightly cooler down across the southeast. It does mean, though, that if you are in the south and the east of the UK, we should get off to a fairly bright, if not sunny, start to the day on Sunday. So do make the most of that sunshine. It's not going to last too long. Further north and west, we run into that cloud and some outbreaks of rain. Some areas of low clouds, so misty conditions around the coast and certainly some hill fog around as well. Some heavier outbreaks of rain in places too, and quite a wet start to the day across more eastern parts of Scotland in particular. Out towards the northwest, though, of Scotland and Northern Ireland, already turning brighter here, and those brighter, sunnier conditions will work their way slowly southeastwards as we go through the course of the day. Even in the south, though, we probably won't see a huge amount of rain getting towards the south of England until very late on, and even then, just the odd shower. Perhaps the odd heavier shower and even thunderstorm across the northeast of Scotland, but here there will be some sunshine, and it should feel pleasantly warm in that sunshine, with temperatures into the low 20s for many of us. A very wet and windy picture, though, for Monday, especially across the northwest, so a weather warning already in place across Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England and the far north of Wales. Some damaging gusts of wind, so do stay tuned to the forecast. We could see some disruption. Even in the south, it will be fairly windy for the time of year. A changeable week of weather on the way, but generally settling down somewhat on Tuesday and Wednesday, and temperatures around average for the time of year.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Let us take on some of your financial stresses and pay your mortgage or rent for the next 12 months. We want to give you a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an unbelievable £20,000. We'll also boost that by a further £5,000, so you really could have some fun in the coming year. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show on the UK's #1 news channel. How about that, hey? I'm Alex Armstrong, along with Will, Kingston, Chloe Dobbs, Trey-Lo and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show,
it's your opportunity to grill us in Ask the Five.
What are British tourists' most annoying habits? We'll discuss that shortly.
Also, what's going on here?
What are you doing?
We are reserving our sunbeds with somebody else's towels. It's called a technicality. Us Brits have been winning by them for centuries.
Plus...
Because you're okay with a certain subset of people, primarily disabled people of color, dying for your own comfort is also eugenics.
What's going on here? We'll find out later. And I'm back, and so are the beavers.
I'm so pleased beavers are back. Love that, love that. It's 8 p.m. Look at them here. Can you see those beautiful little beavers? We're going to tell you more about what's going on in that image there. Of course, it is 8 p.m, and this is the Saturday 5 Extra. Yes, welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra, everybody. We had a really lively couple of hours today, haven't we?
Yeah,
really
very lively.
Big stuff coming up on the rest of the show. What's been your favourite moment so far? What's your favourite debate topic of the night, Will?
Oh, I enjoyed you whinging about how sick you were, Alex, in the room beforehand. Oh, guys, please help me out, please. Oh, I feel so bad. But you've done quite well.
Quite well. OK, I like that. As long as I've done, yeah, I have
done brilliantly.
I've got a bit of lemsip here. I've been surviving on Sudafed, so sorry if I sound like an Ed Miliband tribute. I'm doing my best, guys, all right? Not much longer you've got to tolerate me for. But now it is time for this. Of course, this is Ask the Five. We love this part of the show because you get to send us in everything you want to ask us. But I promise you there'd be a little treat. So those of you that have hung around with us for the last 3 hours, really, really appreciate it because our first question is coming from Dr. Renee.
Oh, stop it.
Hi, panel. Dr. Renee here. I wanted to ask you if the panel believe that GB News presenters should be allowed to go on holiday. Really looking forward to your answers. Have a great show, guys.
Do you know what? I'm going to take that as a hint, actually, Dr. Renee. I'll take that as a hint. I'll get some time off soon. Will, should GB News presenters be allowed to go on holiday?
They should, but I need to point out that Dr. Renee is being very disingenuous here because she said she may throw in a question when she was on holiday last week, but she said she would do it in a bikini. And so, Dr. Renee, what's going on there? Anyway,
Will,
I would say, I'm going to say Sri Lanka.
OK. Yeah. Chloe, where would you go?
Ooh, I'd like to go to South Africa at some point.
Yeah, Trey was your top of your list.
Brazil.
Kai?
Where would I go?
What's the top of your list is somewhere to travel if you could go on holiday? Because you're not allowed
I've never been to anywhere in Asia, actually.
Okay.
Amazing. I've been to Africa much more than I've been to Asia.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love to go to Athens, actually. It's really high up on my list.
Beautiful.
And then
it's
Japan.
beautiful.
Japan is also high up on my list. All right, let's get to the first genuine question, of course, because we read it from you guys at home. So question 2 is from Alan.
Good evening. Does the panel agree that the only way to stabilise our country is to deport the millions of illegals that are currently here? And what further steps should be taken to root out and stop the rise of Islamic fundamentalism within the country, which presents a clear and present danger to our way of life?
Yes. Deport, Alan. We need to deport all foreign criminals from this country immediately. It is ridiculous they are still here. We also need to deport illegal migrants that have broken into our country unfairly, which is unfair to everybody else in this country. We can start by doing some very simple things. And most people at home will be asking, why can't we just do it? Because every other sensible country does this. America does it. Many other countries around the world. Kai?
There's a great quote by H.L. Mencken that says, for every complex problem, there's a solution that is simple and neat and wrong. And that's exactly what you're doing here. Deport everybody. Look, how many deportations has Trump achieved? He says 140,000.
Zero illegal migrants entered America.
It's actually around 70,000. That's...
Zero, Kai. Zero illegal migrants entered America last month. Even the left-wing press agree that
Labour have deported more people per capita than the US has.
Absolutely rubbish.
It is true. It's true. That's the truth.
No,
that's the truth. Are you willing to call me a liar?
I'll tell you what. Yes, I am. I'm not. I don't think you're lying. I think you're being disingenuous. Because even Keir Starmer can't call them deportations. deportations. Have you noticed that? He calls them returning people who shouldn't be here. Now, language is important in politics because if you said the word deport, it would be disingenuous, right? So even in Parliament, when he went to say the word deport, he stops himself. He said, we've returned people that shouldn't be here because guess what? They're not returning any illegal migrants. These are people who are voluntarily leaving the country. We even believe that some of them potentially maybe getting paid to go home.
Well, you know what really angered me is when Chris Hope from this channel, he asked Keir Starmer when he was stood next to Donald Trump about the boats crisis, and Keir Starmer said along the lines of, oh, we're making huge progress on stopping the boats. We've returned 35,000 people who shouldn't be here, making it out to Trump that we've deported 35,000 people that came on boats. But those are not people that came on boats.
Well, do you know
They're
that?
people that came on visas who overstay, people like Vietnamese nail workers, and he keeps on parroting the same rubbish, thinking we and Trump are going to fall for it.
As an aside, Kai, H.L. Mencken also said that democracy is the theory that the people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. And so, in fairness to you, we are getting it good and hard from this Labor government. We should have expected it.
Well, on the thing about deportations as well, we know that I think it's like 68% of people who apply for asylum have come here illegally are rewarded with it. It's the rest of them that eventually get sent back, and most of those don't go back either because the queue is so long. Eventually, they can apply for rights to remain, and they'll use the ECHR rules to stop it. So the vast majority of them end up staying here anyway, which is why we know they're not being deported. Numbers wouldn't make sense compared to what Keir Starmer's cranking them up to be. That is a lie. Or it's not a lie, it's being disingenuous with the truth.
Can I point out we've ignored half the question?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Can you continue the question for me then? What else would you add to that?
The second part of the question was, what do we do about the threat of Islam in this country? And I think it is a very valid concern. And I think the first thing we can do is fight tooth and nail against looming Islamophobia laws. Because if you can't have an honest conversation about some of the more insidious parts of this ideology, then it will continue to become more and more of a threat. So that is the single number one biggest thing, which I think everyone needs to be very, very cognizant of.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the other thing we can do is a little bit like Donald Trump is doing. I think we should be more selective about people we allow legal migration from. We need to have people from countries that are more similar culturally to us. And I'm not afraid to say that, actually. I believe that we genuinely should be allowing people to come to the country we know can integrate over time, and we know that actually we more have the ability to culturally assimilate with us.
I think everyone, pretty much, apart from the real loonies, agrees with that now.
Yeah, Kai, what do you think of that?
I agree. and I'm not...
Even some of the loonies agree with it.
Nice one, Will. No, I totally agree, and I think there's been a long overdue realisation of that. I'll put my hands up and say that I didn't realise quite... The level of immigration that we have now that is different to previous waves of immigration, different both in scale and in kind, right? The types of cultures where we're getting immigrants from legally the dynamic has shifted, and we need to we need to change that. I do agree with that. I'm not quite as loony as some of you might make me out to be.
Chloe?
I think that, I mean, I'll ask you guys what you think, because I'm genuinely on the fence about this. It's from a free speech perspective in terms of how do we combat Islamic fundamentalism. Should it be illegal to chant support for Hamas on the streets?
Absolutely
not incitement of violence.
Absolutely not.
Is sunlight the best disinfectant, or is that allowing extremism to fester and support and acceptance of these groups to grow?
It's a really good question, and I was watching the 7/7 documentary on Netflix not too long ago, where one of the challenges they had in the manhunt was the thousands of people that they were tracking through schemes not dissimilar to Prevent to try and actually track these bombers down. Now, you know, the discussion we had before about tracking what people are saying on social media as a precursor to potential radical acts, you have to find a line somewhere, don't you? And I think things like Prevent, unfortunately for many of us, they do successfully stop terrorist attacks before they happen.
OK. Trey, what do you make of the topics on deportations there? How do we stop the Islamic extremism? What would you say respond to that with?
I think with deportations, again, we need to have some real sensible answers. We've got some extreme answers. I think Australia had the Navy out, isn't it? Which I don't know if it's ever going to work over here. We can't compare America to here because America's got a land border. We've got, obviously the Channel. So we have to have sensible looks at that. It might mean leaving the European Court of Human Rights, etc. And we got to look like how that's going to impact us. Yeah. So I think it's actually having proper, sensible conversations around that. And I think with Islamic fundamentals, of course, we can all agree that we've got to look at that problem. But I come back to this thing around language. We don't talk about the millions of Muslims that do so good for this country. And we've got to separate that out. We've got to stop looking at Islam as though it's some sort of blanket problem. It's a homogenous homogenous society. For instance, you look at Muslim countries in the Middle East where people are going to, UAE, etc. 80% of their population are expats or migrants, as you would say. They integrate. They're fine. They're not even the same culture.
Okay,
So stop seeing it as a problem.
That is a minority example. Out of the 50 Islamic countries in the world, 47 of them are dictatorships. 40 of them are authoritarian hellholes.
Okay, I want to get some other...
are very much the minority.
There's the language, hellholes. What's a hellhole?
Do you want to get the list up?
Guys, I want to move on because there's so many Ask the Fives coming today, and we could debate this topic for a really, really long time, by the way, so we will always come back. There'll be another week, trust me. There'll be another week. Question for the five here. How long do you think, this is from Julie Johnson, how long do you think Starmer will remain as Prime Minister?
2 years.
Will? You're saying 2 years?
Yeah.
Kai?
2 more years, yeah.
So you think just before an election period?
Yeah, give them some time to bed in. Yeah. But it could happen sooner if... So, you can see it. You can see it happening. The Labour Party is quite good at fomenting internal factions and so on. Yeah.
I mean, I always thought that he would hang on until 2029, and I actually, as awful as he is, prefer him to the alternative Angela Rayner or someone like Ed Miliband.
Yeah.
But I do think after that big announcement he made about recognising Palestinian statehood, that it feels like the herd is moving to get rid of him after that, because he has annoyed pretty much everyone, even his international lawyer mates on that. People who are pro-Palestine, pro-Israel, everyone is saying this was an absolutely abhorrent thing to announce.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Trey, what do you think, as someone who's perhaps not as political as us, do you think he'll last as Prime Minister?
I'm going to go out on a limb. I think he's going to be fighting the next general election.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. There'll be a lot of people who agree with you on that, actually, because I think the alternatives, when you look at them, Angela Rayner, for example, I don't think she'd be taken seriously by the British electorate.
Bring on Red Ange. And we saw the briefing in recent weeks. Angela Rayner has a finger on the pulse of what is going on in Britain. She said that to Cabinet. It was then put out in the media. I think she would do a really good job in actually bringing Labour back to their core voters and giving real left-wing solutions to the problems this country faces.
OK, another Ask the Five here. Darren Sheehan has said here, do you agree with President Trump sending 2 nuclear submarines to Russia? Quite complex stuff here, this is, actually. Will?
I think Trump has undeniably been excellent on international relations and foreign affairs, so I would back him on this.
Yeah, Chloe?
I think, yes, it's a good idea, and I think that will help quell the frustration that a lot of people have, that they feel like Trump has been too soft on Putin at the beginning of the negotiations when it comes to the Ukraine situation, and so this will show that he's actually starting to stand up to Putin.
Yeah, I think there's a feeling that Trump miscalculated Putin. I think there's a feeling that he did, because he said before... I'm not going to do... Listen, actually, sorry, Michelle just read, Alex, you do a great impression of Trump, but with your cold, you sound like Sir Squirmalot Starmer. Which I think you mean Keir Starmer. I probably do, unfortunately. I apologise. I'm doing my best. But I can't do my Trump impression with the cold. But I suspect... A lot of you might agree that Trump miscalculated Putin here, because he did say he'd have it within a day.
I actually think the problem is he didn't underestimate Putin. I think he overestimated himself. I think the Russian situation is such a complex thing, and I think to say his foreign policy is excellent is a bit of a stretch. I mean, sometimes I feel it feels like kids, isn't it? Someone says something and then you think, right, let's move submarines, nuclear submarines, let's move it to a strategic location. Why would you do that? Just someone random. It's not even Putin, it's his deputy, who's not even the leader of that country, said something. Why respond to it? Doesn't make no sense.
Trey, he got the Abraham Accords over the line in the first term, along with destroying ISIS, and in the second term, he's neutered the threat of Iran, which is the greatest threat in the world. And to be honest, I think he's made the best of a bad situation in both the Middle East and in the Ukraine-Russia situation. I can't really see how you could laugh at that. I think it's actually, whether or not, and I have problems with Trump. I have problems with him. But his foreign policy record is, on balance, very strong.
Yeah. Chloe? Think he's good on foreign policy?
I think yes, but I think I'll agree with Trey in that he overestimated himself, in that he was complacent, saying, oh, I'll be able to fix everything in a day. But I think that he's played a big role in international relations, often in a good way. I've had some things where I've been frustrated. So, for example, I wish that he would have allowed Israel to finish off the horrendous regime in Iran, because they were on the cusp of it, and that would have been a great thing for the Iranian people who live in this
And then what about the
regime.
migration that would happen from Iran and destabilization? You can't have your own way, because you're going to have all of these millions of people fleeing the zone, coming into Europe, and everyone is going to start complaining. People on the right are going to be losing their minds about the amount of people.
There are, I think, around 9 million Iranians living in Western countries. Loads of Iranians have left because of that regime, and a lot of them are they love the country that they had before that regime, and they would love to go back if the regime was toppled.
If it was nice and neat, but then it might destabilise Iraq, which is next door. Before you know, ISIS resurge.
Well, it's quite a different situation.
It's not as simple as...
It's not a
simple thing. Look at Libya. It's not simple. Look at Syria. It's not simple.
There's a specific question for you here, Will. Grant here says, "Hi, Will. My daughter lives in Australia. I can't wait to join her very soon," he says, "but she tells me that there is a Palestine march over in Sydney Harbour Bridge on Sunday.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on over there?"
Well, this is an easy answer because it's the same trends that we see in the United Kingdom. They are saying that this is a free speech issue. The Harbour Bridge is one of the main junctions for traffic in Sydney. This is appeasing the loony left. I've got no problem with protesting, but you can protest in a way which doesn't disrupt the city. Unfortunately, this is a government that's too scared to actually basically speak to or to stand up to the loony left. The equivalent of the Corbynistas in Australia.
It feels like you guys are sort of a few years behind us and we're a few years behind America. So it's like this trickle-down effect that seems to happen. But let's see, hey?
I think that's pretty right.
Another question here, just one for everybody here. Maybe a yes or no answer. Kez here says, question for the five. Should all protesters be banned from wearing face coverings? Kai?
Yes.
Trey?
Yes.
Chloe?
100%, yeah.
Will?
Ooh.
He's struggling with his libertarianism here, guys.
Well, he's not really. Because he doesn't like disruptive protest to start with, so, not that much of a libertarian, are you, Will?
Yes.
Yes, so I would too. I think this is really sensible. That people are still walking around wearing COVID masks, for goodness sake. When is it going to end? When is it going to end? Stop allowing people to wear face masks. Stop people allowed to wear face coverings in public.
I
just think it's completely wrong.
I saw a guy wearing a face mask in his car today, and I thought, oh my God, what is wrong with you?
So exhausting, isn't it? So
you need to protect yourself from COVID driving around in your car by yourself.
I saw something worse. When I visited Italy, I saw somebody cycling in the open air with a face mask on. It wasn't 2020, it was like 2024.
I've seen even worse than that. I saw someone swimming in Tenerife with a COVID mask on. Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking.
And you struggle for breath.
Okie dokie then. Right, so we've got a lot more coming up for you very, very shortly. So, a lot of us go on holiday this time of year. So, Brits going abroad, do you behave badly when you do? Because we're going to be looking at the worst sun, sea and sangria sins coming up next, shortly after the break. Put in your say if you can guess what some of them are.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is the small boat crossing that everyone can cheer on, going from Fulham all the way back to HMS President in the city of London. It's going very well. I've walked 10 miles this morning with some armed forces veterans, their families, campaigners. GB News is raising money for SAFA and other armed forces charities as part of that Armed Forces Day celebration. Amazing viewers and listeners have raised £2,000 already. And after that gruelling 10-miler, which I have to say was done at quite a gentle pace, are now being treated to this luxurious return back to the starting point on board an HMS, a Royal Navy vessel. This is President 01. This is a training vessel that they use for reservists and also Royal Navy sailors as they make use of the Thames. We've had some great sights already. As we've been going back, we've seen plenty of people taking part in that SAFA 13 Bridges march, waving down on us. I think they were probably slightly jealous that they're still working away and we're enjoying the hospitality of the Royal Navy. But over 1,200 people taking part today, Dawn. Over 150 of them military reservists like myself and Will Mayrick, the producer for today's programme, doing excellent work. He's an RAF officer, in fact, I have to call him sir, which can get very embarrassing. But we're doing great work today, I think, really showcasing the armed forces. It's been amazing to speak to so many veterans, their families, and also many serving personnel on this march today as well. And we're just coming under, there's Vauxhall Bridge there, we've got MI6 to the right, very exciting. Always a beautiful sight, that iconic building. And there's going to be a lot of people still on the march as we go past, we accept. We just had some waves from the bridge earlier.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5 Extra. gbnews.com/you'll say that is where the conversation is at, and I'm trying to read out as many of them throughout the show as possible. Thank you for all of your lovely messages so far. But if we just move on briefly, because it's fair to say that us Brits don't always have the greatest reputation abroad, do we? Travel Rise has highlighted the top 10 annoying things that Britons do in some of Europe's holiday hotspots. These include people having, get this, sex in public. How is this in the top 10? Sex in public, complaining that places aren't as good as the UK, and playing golf slowly. To discuss this, I'm very pleased to welcome Joe Hemmings, who's a behavioural psychologist and relationship expert. Joe, this is brilliant. Brits abroad, we are infamous for it, particularly in certain parts of Spain, perhaps. What does this say about the British mentality, perhaps?
Well, look, what I think it says is that we know how to have a good time. We save hard for our holidays. It's quite important we go away and we enjoy it. What I also think it says is the hypocrisy of these people calling us out for drinking beer, for having fish and chips, eggs and bacon, rushing the sites too much. We're bringing in much needed income into these countries, and they're having a real moan. One of the things was we're renting apartments. I mean, for goodness sake, I mean, what could possibly be wrong with that? So I do think many of them are drink related, and some of them, yeah, they go a bit too far.
Yeah, I think the famous... I think, Joe, you may have seen the famous Jet 2 holiday meme. I don't know who hasn't seen it at this point. I believe that actually started off, because obviously Jet 2 holidays are a very British thing. It started off as a sort of a bit of a downer on British tourists abroad. It's expanded from there, of course. And we have seen some shocking scenes of Brits abroad. We can be quite badly behaved, particularly when there's lots of other Brits, it seems. So is this like a sort of like a herd mentality? Brits are away and they're surrounded by other Brits, so we sort of get a little bit more rowdy. It's like Britain on sea, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. It's all quite tribal, isn't it? It's that sense that other people are doing it, so we will too. But the fact that we expect kind of British food, they were moaning about beer bikes, those things that you kind of ride down the street with a bar in the middle. But these countries are kind of thriving off these businesses and, you know, allowing these kind of, English breakfast places, whatever it is they're moaning about, to be there. And we're bringing in, as I say, good income. But yeah, of course, I don't think the Brits have changed that much in generations. I think we always went away, probably not abroad back in the day, but now we do because it's cheap and cheerful. And we save hard for holidays. We've got a cost of living crisis. People go out and they want to have a good time. So there's a lot of grizzling going on about things that are really, apart from maybe having sex in public, which I definitely don't agree with. There's a lot of grizzling going on about nonsense here, really.
Absolutely right, Joe. Let me bring in the rest of my panel now for some questions. Will, would you like to take it from here?
Yeah, thank you. I'm tempted to drill into the sex in public issue, which I think is of national importance, but I won't. We'll go to the fact, Joe, that I've heard the similar story about Australians before. Is this just the fact that people on holiday go a bit crazy, or are there actually some cultures who are well behaved?
I think people have different opinions of different cultures, and I think most cultures are poorly behaved in certain circumstances. The Brits have a really poor reputation. But then we've had the Germans as well, slinging their sun lounge towels down at 6 a.m. So there's always been have a pop at the Europeans when you're in a country that's not yours. So I'm sorry about the Australians, but I have heard some very bad tales about them as well, yeah.
Yeah, Chloe?
I just wanted to challenge your argument that you said that they're being hypocrites because we bring them so much money. But do you not think that a lot of these places are bringing in strict rules about people needing to behave properly and dress properly in order to actually boost the money coming to that area, to attract other tourists from other countries, better behaved tourists, maybe more sophisticated ones that happen to have more money? Because a lot of people are going to be turned off from visiting places where there are vomiting Brits everywhere in the middle of the night. I wouldn't want to go to one of these places that have girls in boob tubes vomiting in the street all the time.
That's very specific, Chloe.
Nobody would. Nobody wants to go to a place that we see other people vomiting. However, let's put the drinking bit to one side. A lot of these are crazy. We're too slow at golf. We drink the wrong coffee. I mean, what is the right coffee? I mean, I absolutely agree with you about the really gross behaviour. And I think, if you're British and you don't want to be part of that, you go somewhere else. But I do think they are catering to... There's a lot of money spent on beer by the Brits. And those bars, particularly in Spain, do cater to that, and they're making good income. So to be complaining about it at the same time, that's where I feel the hypocrisy lies.
Trey?
Joe, I just want to ask you, do you think it all comes down to one thing and one thing only, booze, and the way that us Brits actually consume our booze?
Hello, Trey. It's nice to see you.
Thanks.
Yeah, a lot of it's to do with booze, but some of it, I mean, I'm assuming you're not on the golf course having drunk too much. Definitely, they're complaining about us driving too slowly. I'm obviously assuming no drinkers involved there. But yeah, the pivot of this is about excessive drinking, not knowing when to stop, binging. And I agree, it can be grotesque. You go on holiday and you feel quite embarrassed to be a Brit, but when they're all gathered together and they outnumber everybody else that's trying to have a quiet meal out or whatever, then yeah, there is a habit of us taking over like that, and definitely to do with booze.
Kai?
I just want to put the shoe on the other foot. I mean, wouldn't you agree that we are really welcoming to tourists here in Britain, aren't we? I mean, you have Greece and Netherlands and all these other countries that receive British tourists complaining, but I don't think we do the same, do we, about anybody? Why is that?
I think that's a really good point. No, I don't think we do. I mean, I think we all have a bit of a grumble in the streets of London or whatever, your city's taken over and you can't get about, and there's great big, huge rows of tourists with the umbrella following this, that and the other. We get a bit fed up. But no, generally speaking, I think we're incredibly welcoming. And I think that says something about our society, which I think, equally says something perhaps negative about some of the other European nations who don't like us.
Joe, I want to ask you this because this plays on my mind. Is it something to do with the sun? Because, we don't get loads... I mean, we've had an exceptionally good summer this year, I have to say. But on average, our summers are pretty poor. Is there something about us... Of course, I think the booze definitely plays a part in it. I think we've all been maybe on... If you've been a young person before, you might have been on a crazy little adventure, perhaps to parts of Spain. Is it the sun plus the booze? Perhaps does it do something to our, to our drive?
Our drive?
Our drive?
Yeah, our energy levels.
That's an interesting motion.
I wasn't talking about sex and partner.
A golfing analogy.
To be clear.
We're hearing your kind of drive. It's okay. It's the sun. It's the getting away from day-to-day routine. It's the fact that there's still a lingering element of, you take a 2-week holiday. That's your only holiday per year. We're not really great travellers in that way. We're quite good tourists. So, yeah, it's letting your hair down when you're finally escaped. Yeah, both the miserable weather, which you say hasn't been that bad lately, but getting away from work, getting away from everything that kind of burdens us, and you want to go out and have a good time. So, yeah, holidays are kind of quite special to the Brits because we don't generally take huge amounts of them.
That's very true, Joe. Joe Hemmings there, behavioural psychologist and relationship expert. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. Really insightful stuff there. Let me just ask the panel this. This is a really good question we've had from our membership here. What is the most Brit abroad thing, or maybe Aussie abroad thing that you've ever done if you've gone abroad before?
Well, I'll do the Brit abroad. It is the Pommy on Bondi Beach with that unique kind of sunburn red. shirt off, just loving life with the Fosters, you know,
Can I
embracing
say,
the moment.
I didn't know what pommy was. Can you just explain to the audience, because the Aussies use this term all the time as pommies. What does that mean?
So I think POM is a initialism or an acronym. I can't remember, but it is Prisoner of Mother England.
There you go.
And so it's long been from probably like the early 1900s, the colloquialism for the English in Australia.
So I heard it was because we all go slightly red in the sun and there was like a pomegranate colour to it. But
I've heard that as well.
Yeah, but there's probably different variations of the same thing, right? But there we go. Chloe, have you done anything? You're so sensible and you're such a smart, intelligent young woman. I don't imagine you doing anything Brit abroady, but have you ever done anything like or seen anything debaucherous? You're like, oh, I would never do that.
Well, I would never be someone who goes out
you're
in
way too classy.
fake tan, slug eyebrows, the boob
Never
tube,
say never.
Never say never.
There's still time. There's still time.
I mean, I don't drink, and I hate how this country has like a horrific binge drinking culture where people feel like if they're going to drink, they've got to go to the point of making themselves physically sick. I don't think you need to do that to have a good time.
Yeah, okay.
And I've never been to one of these places like Ibiza or one of these party places.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough.
Most of the holidays I've been on have been with like family members.
Fair. Look, it's not for
I've never had
everybody.
a crazy holiday.
It's not for everybody. Trey, I want to ask you this because you're a man. I know you've been in the music industry. You're a man. I can imagine. I bet you've had Brit abroad.
There's a lot of stuff that I won't even.
Paul here. Paul, I hope you don't mind me reading this out, mate. But you've said here, sex on the beach should be on everyone's bucket list. I had mine on an 18 to 30s holiday a long time ago. I won't ask how long ago it was, Paul. Has that ever been on your bucket list before?
I've done absolutely everything other than drugs. I absolutely hate drugs, but I've definitely been one of those Brits in Ibiza, absolutely hammered, having a lot of fun and doing a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't be doing. Definitely. I mean, you've missed that. It's fun when you're young.
I don't see the appeal. Like,
fair enough.
Why not just, if you want to do that and you want to be surrounded by Brits and you want to have a fish and chip shop and you're always going to look for the shade whenever you go somewhere sunny, why not just go to a nightclub in Britain? Why fly all the way there? I just don't get it.
What about the novelty? Come on,
Yeah.
I can tell you've definitely done Brit abroad things.
Yeah, but I can't.
Welsh abroad.
Probably can't legally talk about the things I've done abroad. I was once contacted by an Italian restaurant telling me, sir, you left your suitcases in the hotel and in the restaurant and didn't pay the bill. So I had to return. That was after a night of a day and night of drinking.
Bit of dine and dash by accident.
It's the booze. It's the booze, isn't it? Really, us Brits are just famous for it.
We are.
Yeah.
It's just part of our culture.
It
it's
is.
Pub culture, because I think it's the same. You go to the pub and if you spend like 4 or 5 hours in a pub, you start to see the people around you. It gets a little bit wild.
Yeah.
I think if you drop Brits in a sunny place where it's tops off, beach, sea, beers, I think it's brilliant.
In the UK, that happens when we have sun and when you're on the beach.
Go crazy.
People take their tops off. They do all the things that we're being accused of in here.
Absolutely right. Well, moving on to serious news. Hot dogs on highways are coming up next on an underwear pinching cat. You're with Britain's #1 news channel. We'll see you after the break.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Whilst the UK gears up for Storm Floris, it turns increasingly hot in Portugal, although there'll be some heavy rain in Croatia and Italy, particularly the central part of Italy. Thunderstorms expected here, thunderstorms moving through parts of Croatia and Bosnia. But for much of Iberia, it's sunny spells and increased heat. Higher temperatures than average for much of Portugal. And that's expected to continue into the start of next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hi there and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. We've got more changeable weather on the way for Sunday, some rain for many of us, but also some sunshine following from the north later. But then for Monday, it's all attention out towards the west. Here comes Storm Floris moving across the Atlantic on Sunday afternoon, deepening as it becomes a very deep area of low pressure for the time of year and bringing some very strong winds to the north of the UK on Monday. But back to Saturday evening, we have got this area of cloud and rain pushing in across Northern Ireland and Scotland, slowly working its way southeastwards across the UK through the course of tonight. Some fairly low cloud developing, so some mist and hill fog as well, and quite humid conditions in the west. Clearer and slightly cooler down across the southeast. It does mean, though, that if you are in the south and the east of the UK, we should get off to a fairly bright, if not sunny, start to the day on Sunday. So do make the most of that sunshine. It's not going to last too long. Further north and west, we run into that cloud and some outbreaks of rain. Some areas of low clouds, so misty conditions around the coast and certainly some hill fog around as well. Some heavier outbreaks of rain in places too, and quite a wet start to the day across more eastern parts of Scotland in particular. Out towards the northwest, though, of Scotland and Northern Ireland, already turning brighter here, and those brighter, sunnier conditions will work their way slowly southeastwards as we go through the course of the day. Even in the south, though, we probably won't see a huge amount of rain getting towards the south of England until very late on, and even then, just the odd shower. Perhaps the odd heavier shower and even thunderstorm across the northeast of Scotland, but here there will be some sunshine, and it should feel pleasantly warm in that sunshine, with temperatures into the low 20s for many of us. A very wet and windy picture, though, for Monday, especially across the northwest, so a weather warning already in place across Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England and the far north of Wales. Some damaging gusts of wind, so do stay tuned to the forecast. We could see some disruption. Even in the south, it will be fairly windy for the time of year. A changeable week of weather on the way, but generally settling down somewhat on Tuesday and Wednesday, and temperatures around average for the time of year.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. I'm loving your comments, guys. You've kept me very entertained during this break. I'm going to read out a couple of them. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. Grumpy Grandad says, sex on the beach with no beach towel is a mistake I won't make again. Sandra has responded with, I have sex on the beach at least once a month. You're living a great life, whatever you're doing.
Living the life.
A little bit of that. A little bit of that in my life. Maybe it's just the drink you're referring to. Who knows, right? Anyway,
I love our audience.
Yeah, they're absolutely brilliant stuff. Let's move on, because this part of the week is where we discuss our favourite moments from the last week. OK, yeah, sorry, we're moving on because it's Will. Come on, take it away.
I'm sure we had graphics.
We don't have graphics for this, Will. What show are you on every Saturday?
Well, look, OK, I will use the segue of I love our audience, because this is actually a big thank you to our audience. If you are not aware, and let's face it, you probably are aware, we haven't been shy about it, GB News is now the #1 news media channel in the country.
Woo!
It outrated the BBC, who had about a 100-year head start over GB News and Sky. I've been thinking about why this could be the case. A 4-year start-up news media organisation, not run on a massive budget, could do this. And there are the obvious answers. There's the fact that the BBC and Sky have abrogated their responsibility as serious journalists by not telling you the truth. There's the fact that we have fun and we do stuff like Alex just did in a way that other news media and organisations don't. But I think the big thing is the sense of community that I feel very fortunate to be a part of.
Absolutely.
With the people who work here and our audience. Whenever I run into people on the street, it is like you are continuing a conversation with someone as opposed to meeting someone for the first time. So a really big thank you. On the Saturday 5, we're very proud to do our little bit. This is such a wonderful thing, I think, not just for us. It is a wonderful thing, I think, for the United Kingdom.
And Bill here says it's all thanks to Kai. So,
oh, too right. No, I agree with you, Will. You know, I've felt a strong sense of community from people. I've been away for 5 weeks now, and people like Nick and Mandy and all sorts of people who don't agree with my political views got in touch and stay in touch, and I love that.
Yeah. It's really nice that we can all agree to disagree sometimes, because that's what makes doing things like this special. Because as much as people will think we fight each other, we hate each other, we actually all get along really, really well.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's the only station really, because I don't agree with a lot that happens. That's why me and Will clash over there. But I love the fact that we can have these debates.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so good about GB News and what people find refreshing, and that you will have a point of view that's very much to the left. I'm very much centred on a lot of stuff, but we're not afraid to push back.
Absolutely.
And actually have conversations that we should be having as a country.
Healthy conversations.
I think it's brilliant.
We have to move on and get to the next high five, which is yours, Chloe.
Yes, so there's been some very interesting polling come out, and I know most people are probably sick of polls because we have them come out all the time, but this one's a very interesting one. So it's voting intention by cheese that you consume, and there's actually quite a big difference between different cheeses. So Reform lead on most of them, but apparently eating feta makes you a massive lefty, because Labour have a 15-point lead when it comes to feta cheese, and also Reform have their biggest lead on people who have no cheese whatsoever. They have a 19-point lead. So it seems that the cheese you consume makes a big difference as to how you vote.
There you go. Have you got a favourite cheese, Kai?
Oh, I love a Stilton. That makes me a Reform.
I bet you love a feta.
No.
Reform one on Stilton.
Reform
they also
one Stilton,
on cheddar, brie, red Leicester.
Yeah, I like a Stilton.
Trey,
maybe you're a
big fan of cheese?
voter.
I'm not a massive fan of cheese, to be honest.
Will?
Yeah.
A nice aged cheddar. But my favourite Twitter account is this bloke who just kind of...
I know exactly.
Who just messages famous people and says, what is your favourite cheese? And he generally gets an answer. It's fantastic.
He does, yeah.
Joe someone. So Joe, keep it up.
It's so left of field, isn't it? It's just not expected. All right, well, I've got a story for you. Have you ever had a kleptomaniac cat before? There's a cat called, this is brilliant, Leonardo da Vinci. That is a well-known thief from New Zealand, going around stealing people's underwear. And not just their underwear. I was ashamed I haven't got a picture for you of this. I might post it up on X later, because this has really made me giggle today. But they stole it, like, £35 sweaters, £135 sweaters. This cat is brilliant. And, of course, you can plausibly deny that you had anything to do with it. You could come back with a brand new wardrobe. So this cat is going around New Zealand pinching people's underwear and extremely expensive clothes. I wonder whether Kai has been away for the last 5 weeks in New Zealand. And is coming back with his lovely your new shirt.
All of these. No, I was just going to ask, why is it okay to pinch underwear when a cat does it, but not when Will does it? You've been to New Zealand recently, Will?
About a year ago, actually.
Right, OK, moving on. Trey, what have you got for us?
So mine's a little bit of I don't know if you guys would be into this, right? But it's all about Stevie Nicks. Everyone knows Stevie Nicks is.
Yeah, of course.
Am I showing my age?
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac. So she's basically injured herself, but she is like an absolute trooper, still going on tour. The reason why I love Stevie Nicks so much is I've actually got a signed record from her. Like, for me, as a musician as well, she is easily, I would say, a top 5 singer that's ever lived. She's absolutely phenomenal. So it's great, especially after we just lost Ozzy Osbourne as well. It's great to know that some of these older, incredible artists are still out there touring, and they're not allowing broken limbs to stop them in their tracks.
Although she has just delayed the tour.
She's delayed it, but she's still going on tour.
On that positive note, she has just delayed the tour.
You're going to say you didn't think I was a fan?
No. I was just about to say they were carting Ozzy Osbourne out right until the very end. So I don't think it's entirely a good thing, but I like.
No, it's a great thing. He got to perform in Birmingham before he passed away.
The context, that last Paranoid, where he was shaking, but he still delivered it, I think is one of the most poignant things I can recall saying.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. All right, Kai, we've all been waiting for your return.
Well, speaking of beautiful, speaking of actually animals having sex in public in foreign countries, there's been a beaver baby boom, hasn't there? Yes, beavers are behaving badly once again. It's been a drought of beavers for me and for the audience, but I'm glad to tell you there's lots of stories that have come out in the last month. So what do we have? 2 beavers born in Northumberland after 2 years on a rewilding site. 1 week ago in Helmond Tor in Cornwall, and in the Lost Gardens of Helligan in Cornwall, they welcomed some baby beavers. So do write in if you've encountered a beaver in recent weeks. Will, any beaver mishaps for you in this summer?
It's been a bit dry beavers.
Sadly
It's been a good year for beavers, hasn't it, actually, Will? Don't you think? Up and down the country for you.
Beavers been pleasing you recently?
You're pushing it too close to the line. You see your jokes. Hey. You've got to make the joke high. Otherwise, I get booted off air.
No. Ofcom says nothing.
This is a wonderful result for the local beaver population. Bravo to British people.
All right. Well, look, coming up after the break.
Because you're okay with a certain subset of people, primarily disabled people of color, dying for your own comfort is also eugenics.
Wow. OK, it's the final triggered tantrums. This is the Saturday 5 Extra. Don't go anywhere.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date. Or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Yes, we did it.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. We couldn't have done it without you.
Absolutely not. It is down to each and every single one of you who chooses to watch us, to listen to us, and to be a part of what we're trying to do. Thank you.
This is just the beginning. Britain's #1 news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. It's so great to have those beaver stories back on the show, isn't it? It's one you clearly all have missed, according to your say, at least. OK, let's get started with the final triggered. It's getting late for me. Triggered tantrums. Trey, take it away, mate.
So my triggered tantrum is the wonderful Bishop Jonathan Baker literally telling a choir that's actually paid for a hall to jog on effectively. Have we got any VT for this?
And that's it. It's gone past 10. What house? This is a terrible record. Good night. You are in my house. Can you leave it now, please? Thank you. It's over. Thank you.
So basically, you had this lovely choir who had hired the hall to do a couple of live events and a full audience. The bishop, clearly in his gown, has been woken up and said, right, enough, too much of a racket, which is quite funny. And the thing what they ended up with, the song they ended up singing as they were ushered out of the place was ABBA's Dancing Queen, which they actually sung a cappella, which must have wind him up no end. I think that's an absolutely funny story.
Kai?
What do I have?
No, what do you have to say?
What do I have to say?
You're here for you.
Not very much.
Dancing
You've
Queen.
been playing for 5 weeks and you've got nothing to say.
Sorry, I was doodling.
No. If you're getting booted out, what would be your last song?
Listen, I'm paying this guy to sit on the end here and doodle like he's in school.
It wasn't quite as bad as when Dr. Renee was on her phone.
Stop, guys. This is the news story that everyone wants to hear about.
I think Kai's stalling because he didn't listen to the VAT.
He didn't, did you? Okay, let's ask him this. If you're getting booted out by a bishop, no less, what would be the last song that you would sing?
Well, he wants to sleep, doesn't he? So Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Okay. All right, let's move on, shall we? Kai, what do you have to show us?
What do I have? Well, it's,
country?
again, this American Eagle ad that we spoke about just a little bit earlier, and some American lefties losing it. Let's take a look at this.
Good genes passed on to offspring? That American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is literally overt eugenics. I know you don't want to hear this, but if you want to talk about how that ad is promoting eugenics, which it absolutely is, we also have to talk about how choosing not to wear a mask when you can during an ongoing pandemic, because you're okay with a certain subset of people, primarily disabled people of color, dying for your own comfort, is also eugenics.
So there you have it, folks. Not wearing a mask these days is eugenics. Yes. He is talking about COVID. She's talking about COVID face masks.
But this is ridiculous. Wow. We just these people are just so out there. They're so far beyond reasonable.
I'm convinced that they're planted to make the left look even loonier.
No, I just think
some
it's
of
the left. I just think it's genuinely the left.
I mean,
Will?
Hot chicks are hot. Sometimes you can over-intellectualise these things. Hot chicks are hot and sex sells. And yet you have this tiny group of sad miscreants who think that they just need to tear other people down. Good on American Eagle.
Chloe?
Yeah, I mean, I think Will put it perfectly. Sex sells.
I certainly didn't.
It's pretty straightforward. It's not that complicated. That's all they were doing with that ad, was putting a girl looking sexy on, because that's what will sell the clothes. It's got nothing to do with eugenics. It's just bonkers. These lefties who clearly don't have a job and have nothing to do but to think and make videos about this all day.
OK, let me read out some of the your says now, just to top off the hour, because, again, we read out more than any other show. Challenge any presenter on that one, I guarantee you do. I don't know who this is, but they said, hello, I watch GBNews most of the time. I'm glad that Kai is back on tonight, but he's made a comment a while ago about someone who was trying to speak Welsh, saying that they were only as good as a Duolingo standard. Can he please explain to me how an English person who has no access to Welsh can learn otherwise? I must admit, I gave up, and though why I bother, that is what the Welsh think of me even trying.
I don't remember this comment.
This has been sent to our inbox, not your site.
So this is more about.
It might have been a while ago. I don't know.
It must have been a while ago.
Yeah,
but it's probably because I'm not a fan of Duolingo. I don't think it's the way I would choose to learn a language.
Fair enough.
But Welsh had a massively growing audience on Duolingo.
Oh, really?
And I really love that. It's an ancient language native to the British Isles. It has it's steeped in history. So I commend anybody who's using Welsh or learning Welsh, whether it's Duolingo or otherwise.
OK. Pete here has said, I'm a proud right-winger, so I come... this is about this prevent stuff, about prevent going after 60-years-olds, basically.
I know it's okay that you still lapse into Trump at random moments.
Maybe I'm just becoming part of me. I don't know.
Sorry, go on.
So,
after they came after me, I'm retired, 70 years old, I'm retired now. Did you know that I'm a civil servant? And prevent is a left-wing joke. It's a Joe Biden joke. Kamala, she loves prevent. I think she probably referred to me 5 or 6 times.
You have
taking this comment a bit more seriously, Chloe, is it just ridiculous that we're seeing 60-year-olds who spent their whole life and love this country being referred to prevent, or maybe are some of them legitimate?
I mean, it sounds like the people referring them are, say, members of the public who are, angry Karens online saying, oh, this person criticised immigration, I'm going to refer them to prevent, as opposed to prevent actually genuinely investigating all of these people. So I think this is more a problem with society, where people think that somebody who has a different point of view to them deserves to be shut down and must be a Nazi if they disagree with them.
If they disagree with you. Kai?
I'm quite offended. You actually just used a slur, Karen. That's not appropriate, and I think you should
you're
retract.
a Karen for being offended by that.
Trey, do you think we just lost our minds? We're just all just losing the plot here with all this prevent silliness?
Yeah, I think we are. But like I say, I think there's an undercurrent where we do need to be a little bit cautious about what's going on. But
over 60s can be criminals, right? I think inherent in this discussion has been a sort of, over 60s, they've paid into this country.
I don't know how many 60-year-olds are extreme right-wing terrorists. I haven't seen many of them lately, Kai. Just
You
saying
wait.
it. Bob the Builder says, can the government publish a list of things we are allowed to talk about? I would love to know that list because there's more things I can't say than I can say these days.
Beavers.
Anyway, listen, I want to thank the panel tonight. Kai, welcome back. It's lovely to have you. Trey, of course, welcome back from your week holiday. Chloe, thank you so much for stepping in for Dr. Relay's time. I'm sure she's having a lovely time on holiday. Will, same old lefty. We love having you here with us. But next up, of course, it is the brilliant Ben Leo. Ben, what have you got for us, mate?
Hello, good evening. Cracking show, Saturday. I've obviously been down to another protest today, like I always seem to be doing. Today, is the government not only spying on you, but lying to you? Because last week on Patrick Christie's show, the Home Office said absolutely no way will migrants be bussed into the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf. What happened overnight in the secrecy of night at 1 a.m? A busload of migrants apparently were bussed into the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf. Also, Antifa turned up today at this hotel in North London. I've got some great footage for you. See you after the weather.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there, and welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. We've got more changeable weather on the way for Sunday, some rain for many of us, but also some sunshine folding from the north later. But then for Monday, it's all attention out towards the west. Here comes Storm Floris moving across the Atlantic on Sunday afternoon, deepening as it becomes a very deep area of low pressure for the time of year and bringing some very strong winds to the north of the UK on Monday. But back to Saturday evening, we have got this area of cloud and rain pushing in across Northern Ireland and Scotland, slowly working its way southeastwards across the UK through the course of tonight. Some fairly low cloud developing, so some mist and hill fog as well, and quite humid conditions in the west. Clearer and slightly cooler down across the southeast. It does mean, though, that if you are in the south and the east of the UK, we should get off to a fairly bright, if not sunny, start to the day on Sunday. So do make the most of that sunshine. It's not going to last too long. Further north and west, we run into that cloud and some outbreaks of rain. Some areas of low clouds, so misty conditions around the coast and certainly some hill fog around as well. Some heavier outbreaks of rain in places too, and quite a wet start to the day across more eastern parts of Scotland in particular. Out towards the northwest, though, of Scotland and Northern Ireland, already turning brighter here, and those brighter, sunnier conditions will work their way slowly southeastwards as we go through the course of the day. Even in the south, though, we probably won't see a huge amount of rain getting towards the south of England until very late on, and even then, just the odd shower. Perhaps the odd heavier shower and even thunderstorm across the northeast of Scotland, but here there will be some sunshine, and it should feel pleasantly warm in that sunshine, with temperatures into the low 20s for many of us. A very wet and windy picture, though, for Monday, especially across the northwest, so a weather warning already in place across Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England and the far north of Wales. Some damaging gusts of wind, so do stay tuned to the forecast. We could see some disruption. Even in the south, it will be fairly windy for the time of year. A changeable week of weather on the way, but generally settling down somewhat on Tuesday and Wednesday, and temperatures around average for the time of year.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
This is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for an entire year. We'll give you a cash lump sum that will cover 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, up to an incredible £20,000. Plus, we'll add £5,000 on top of that for you to treat yourself. You have to hurry, though, as lines will close on the 29th of August. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time